Charlotte.
So the topic we're addressing this week, at least Linda and I, are about what we're going to call being stabilized or centered or collected in meditation. And the question that I think there's different answers to, in fact, I know there's different answers to in different from different meditation teachers and different meditation traditions. The question is, do you have to be centered and stable before you let in thinking, before you let in feeling, before there is the possibility of a kind of wiser, deeper kind of thinking, which of course is not separate from feelings, but integrated?
And oh, are you answering that question right
No,
now?
you are. You
No,
are.
well, I wasn't going to answer it. I was going to jump to, um, we don't think so. So that's kind of an answer. But this is coming from a podcast that we listened to. Ezra Klein interviewed Stephen Batchelor for the New York Times, his New York Times podcast. And this is a question that we pulled out of their conversation. So Nellie and I started having a conversation about it. What is oh, go ahead. You were
No,
like,
you.
yeah, okay. So this is the statement that we are questioning. What is important, this is from Stephen Batchelor. What is important is to drop a question, the question, he goes up into another question, into meditation at the point where the mind has already stabilized, either through observing the breath or just through the silent sitting practice itself.
So, in my experience, and you haven't actually said whether this is your experience, Linda. So please, after I'm done, please speak to your experience. But my experience is that I have these like short times. Of course, I don't time them, but it feels short, where I feel settled or, in a different kind of consciousness or state of mind, maybe one where there is less thinking. Um, but then it shifts into more thinking, but the thinking seems to be a bit different than what would happen as I was moving through my daily life. And how consciousness shifts into something different is really different for different people. And listen to that when we have conversations at the end of this meditation event. And I think you'll start to hear that, how it's different for different people. And the things I attributed to, and I'm sure there's more than this, is our personal propensities, what comes easier to us, and also our previous meditation experiences and training.
Right. And I think what you're attending to and what kind of focused us around this is that we're not saying you have to be stable before you can ask questions of yourself, or that you can't have some kind of dialogue or conversation in meditation. You have to be in a certain space or mindset or consciousness, even like you said, Nellie. And we kind of pick up that direction from Stephen, is that you really have to, Stephen and other meditation teachers,
I'd say most others.
most others, that you have to be here before you can get there. And we're saying, we don't actually see it that way.
Hmm. Right. Or experience it that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, I mean, when I did my decades long Vipassana, was doing Vipassana meditation for decades, my experience was that during the meditation, I worked quite a bit to try to keep myself with the focus object. But then once the sitting ended, I had all this different kind of thinking. It felt like most or some of the time clearer thinking. And truthfully, that's what kept me coming back.
right, right. I'm going to jump to another section, Nellie, just jump off of that. So this is another follow-up statement that they offered in the podcast. Again, Stephen's voice. once you find yourself and you feel in your body a groundedness, a harmony, a balance, a calm, then you gently ask yourself, what is this? What's going on?
Yeah, and what
Curiosity questions, right?
right,
Question.
right, right, right. But what is this is also in his tradition of Korean Zen at the time, and that was the instruction
Right.
to just ask, what is this? Um, but when we were like lifting the transcript, we lifted it right from the transcript. The second question, what's going on? I was very excited when I realized like that is sort of our question. What's going on? What's going on internally? Um, Maybe what's going on externally, but how at least, but if that's true, at least how they understanding there's a strong connection. How we perceive what's going on externally is very dependent upon what we're experiencing internally.
And though we don't tell people to say, what's going on? What's
Right,
going on?
right.
What's going on? Um,
No.
when you look at it, both Nellie and I could see we're often asking that, and we're asking that in the interview, our shared
Right,
conversation. We're often
right.
saying, oh, what went on there? Or it is an awareness question too. Like, what
Mm.
was I aware of? What's that coming from? Like, and our direction of kind of broadening questions rather than what is this, like trying to name something, or again something more specific. We tend to be more of a broadening school of meditation.
Right. And what's going on also has a neutrality about it. Like,
Mm,
not you should be saying this should be going on and tell me how this is going on
mm,
because this is the
yeah.
practice and this is what should be going on. So how are you feeling more metta? Because metta, how are you feeling more kindness?
Mm,
Because that's what we're trying to do. No, just much more open and general.
mm.
What's going on?
Well, it's interesting to think of that as more neutral and maybe even a little bit more equanimous. Like we're
Hmm.
not trying to prioritize, in that. And that's a kind of neutrality. I like that direction, Nellie.
And we're not trying to inadvertently, I might add, push
Mhm.
people to effort some more to get to what should
Yeah.
be going on, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so let's
Do
see
you want to
where
pick up the next kind
um,
of
yeah,
wolf
yeah,
and
yeah.
wolf?
So this is also from the interview. Allow yourself not to repeat the question. And again, the questions actually he posed, what is this? What's going on? But somehow to settle into the silence in which the question is asked and to let yourself just listen to whatever responses might come up. That
Yeah.
does feel more in sync with our practice, huh?
In meditation practice, that silent meditation practice, or even silent guided meditation practice, is that we're really going inward and looking for more of the focus to come from that silence rather than trying to bring it in so directly. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and that silence that, well, it's pretty easy to do here online because you're not in a room with other people that you could be talking to. And if you are talking to somebody at your house, you're muted. So silence is not a thing we have to make that intentional. But we hope there is a kind of silence that is developing during this hour we're together because it really will take you deeper into your own experience.
And it even might be a bit of a transition to come out of that silence. We're asking you to come out of the silence and reflect, and then to talk about your experience. And that it takes some time. It's a kind of what I was saying to myself, like a gathering process, that we're, putting things together in reflection and then talking about articulating our experience. We're really going against a trend to be impulsive or spontaneous and just say whatever comes to mind. You hear people kind of taking their time before they speak, thinking about things first.
And we're talking about that last, at least in this daily online Sangha, the last 10 minutes when you're a few people are
Yeah.
sharing their experience. Yeah, with with really answering that question, what went on at that point? Yeah,
Yeah. It takes effort and concentration and focus to do that. It's
right.
really extending that concentration outside of the meditation.
So back to the
Yeah.
transcript. You listen to your body, you listen to the world, and at a certain point, I think you become rather disinterested in finding an answer, to be honest, because there is no answer. In the end, that's the secret, which I shouldn't perhaps have told you. And this is going on between Ezra and him, and Ezra's trying to, the question is like not quite working exactly right for him. So that's the secret he just told Ezra and of course the listeners. Hey,
Right.
Linda, what's our secret?
Nellie and I each have a little different take on the secret. Because there's not just one secret, right? There's lots of secrets. Um, but I think one of our secrets is that being with whatever comes up when you start a meditation, it actually can be a reliable way to stabilize. And this is hard to trust because most forms of meditation say it's not. So, in some respects, we're asking people to trust something that they don't know yet, and that goes against the common direction of meditation.
We're asking a lot. Maybe that's our secret. We're asking a lot. But I had a little, like Linda said, a little different take, but like there's many secrets. So the secret, it was a secret to me, maybe that's what it is. Based on my previous training, which is it doesn't take a lot, a long period, or deeply immersive settledness to really change the way I think and the way I feel. And that was a secret to me. So.
And now we know it and you know it, and we're actually curious about, what's the secret from this practice? Like, what's your secret? What would you say to that question?
And we're going to end there. That's our prompt. And I think I'm a bell ringer today. Would you